Let's move on to our second main topic today. And our second main topic today gets sent in to us by Dafydd Mark Moody, who writes, I was wondering if you saw that Disney is starting early development for a new Planet of the Apes film with the Maze Runner director. I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on this, and have a great day. And yes, you're right. They have announced, what they're saying is the first, what do they call it? Legacy, the first legacy Fox property that Disney is now moving ahead and revitalizing. So they are moving ahead with this. What is not clear, and this was made really clear in the report that came out of the big trades, was that what they have no idea about right now is this a continuation from War of the Planet of the Apes? Or is this a reboot of the franchise? Is this a brand new Planet of the Apes? It's been a beat since the last Planet of the Apes movie. I'm going to be honest with you. War for the Planet of the Apes was my least favorite of those Apes movies. It really was. I had all the hype in the world. That was one of the grossest, deceptive marketing campaigns of all time. Almost half the stuff that they showed you in posters and trailers wasn't actually in the movie. And they made the movie out to look like, this is the movie we've been building up for. This is the movie that's going to have the war between the humans and the apes. And they show all these trailers making it look like there's going to be all these things. Even the poster with the riding of the horse, those scenes weren't in the movie. And the movie had nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. It was still a good movie. I still enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. Thumbs up for me. It's a good movie. But I preferred the other two vastly. Anyway. Where do you go from there? Matt Reeves is, of course, working on his Batman, and he's taking his Caesar with him, as Andy Serkis is over there working on Batman as well. So what do we think, Rob, about them moving forward with Planet of the Apes? And do you think they'll actually make this something of a continuation? Or do you think they'll go in the direction of, we're just going to start Planet of the Apes over again? How do you see this going?
I think it's going to be a really interesting test for Disney, because I've loved the Planet of the Apes franchise since I was a kid. I love the first 5 original movies. I love the original animated series, and the Tim Burton movie I could not so much. But this new trilogy with Andy Serkis' Caesar, I loved. I think I might have actually loved the first movie the best, but I've loved all 3 of them. But I agree with you, War of the Planet of the Apes was not. It's probably my least favorite, but it's a pretty dark series. Planet of the Apes has always been dark. The original Beneath the Planet of the Apes ends with the world ending with an apocalyptic doomsday bomb being detonated by Charlton Heston in the final seconds of the film, and the voiceover at the end of the movie is, the planet Earth is now dead. And that's literally how the movie ends and the credits roll. So it's not like this is the most uplifting, necessarily family friendly, even though it was kid friendly, because it's cool. Planet of the Apes. What's not? We liked it because of what it was. I hope it's a continuation of what they've done, or if it's not, they're going to examine the same kinds of themes. But I just don't see Disney. It's an interesting choice, and it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it, because how they handle this franchise is going to give us a little bit of a signpost with what they might do with Alien, what they might do with Predator. I mean, what are they going to do? Obviously, these films make money and people love them. I think it's a good choice in terms of a legacy property to develop, but the choice of director was sort of interesting to me.
Well, Wes Ball. They went ahead and got Wes Ball. Now, if you don't recognize the name Wes Ball, that's understandable. The only really thing he did Cirque du Freak.
Right.
Which I didn't hate.
No.
But then he did this kind of YA, kind of Hunger Games style book with Maze Runner. But I remember that first Maze Runner.
Yeah.
Surprised a lot of us, because it was much better than we all thought it was going to be, Now, the second and the third ones weren't so great, but at one point you gotta go, look, you're working from questionable source material to begin with. He made the first one great. So, what's really interesting though, is that Wes Ball, I'm trying to remember the name of the project, but as the Disney takeover as Fox was happening, do you remember that Fox was developing that kind of mouse Braveheart?
Yeah, Mouse Guard.
Mouse Guard. So they were working on Mouse Guard, which looked incredible.
Well, the graphic novel stuff is amazing.
Yeah, and then remember they put out the little animatic thing of it as well, which I thought, my God, I would watch this. But it was one of the first casualties of the Disney takeover.
Yeah.
And Disney killed the project. That's what Wes Ball was working on. Apparently, Disney must have liked enough of what he was doing on Mouse Guard to go, you know what, let's give you a shot on this. Now, so I know there are going to be some people that get a little bit of a like, wait, the guy who did Maze Runner's doing play. I think there might be something here. And I think this is an interesting choice. So let's see how this guy does. I personally think it's going to be a continuation.
Yeah.
And the main reason I think it's going to be a continuation, and I have no insider information, by the way, it could very well be a reboot. But the reason I think it's going to be a continuation is I think it's too soon for a reboot. I think it's too early to reboot the franchise at this point. So that's just my guess. Could be told. I wouldn't put any money on that.
You know, I also think, too, that with the technology they've developed with Jungle Book and now with Lion King, makes it really desirable to make another Planet of the Apes movie because they can translate over and use that technology that they've been refining.
Not that it didn't already look absolutely fantastic.
Oh, amazing.
Of course it did. So question here is, guys, how do you feel about this? What do you think about them picking back up with the Planet of the Apes franchise? I'll be honest, I was a little bit skeptical that they would. So what do you think about them doing this? What do you think about the selection of the director? Do you think it'll be a continuation? Do you think it'll be a reboot? How do you guys feel about it? Jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right.